Some horror films scare you with monsters, some with violence, some with noise. Carnival of Souls does something far more unsettling. It makes you feel absent, like the world is moving around you, and you were never meant to be part of it. It begins on a night like any other, a canvas of deep velvet black, streaked with the fleeting silver of rain on asphalt. The world outside the car is a blur of motion and shadow, a place that seems distant, almost unreal. Inside, there is warmth, a fragile bubble of light and life moving through the encroaching darkness. This is a moment suspended in time, a memory waiting to be shattered. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and the promise of a storm, but for the occupants of the car, the only reality is the shared space between them, the hum of the engine, and the hypnotic rhythm of the windshield wipers. Mary Henry is out driving with two friends. Her hands rest lightly on the wheel, guiding the machine with an easy confidence. She is the anchor of this small, floating world. Her friends, silhouettes in the dim cabin light, are animated, their voices weaving a tapestry of youthful exuberance. They are talking about futures that seem as wide and open as the road ahead, about dreams as bright as the distant city lights. They are blissfully unaware that this road has a destination they could never have imagined, that their shared future is measured not in years, but in minutes. The music from the radio fills the gaps in their conversation, a soundtrack to their innocence, a cheerful melody that stands in stark contrast to the grim symphony about to unfold. Laughing. The sound is genuine, unburdened. It echoes in the small confines of the car, a pure expression of joy. It's the kind of laughter that comes from a place of deep comfort and familiarity, the sound of people who believe they are invincible, that the night and the world belong to them. Each peal of laughter is a spark of light against the oppressive dark, a defiant cry of life. But in the grand, indifferent silence of the universe, such sounds are fleeting, easily extinguished. It is the last time this sound will be heard from them, a final vibrant note before an abrupt and eternal silence. Carefree, they are untroubled by the past, unconcerned with the future. Their existence is a singular, brilliant point of light in the present moment. The rain-slicked road is not a hazard, but a glistening pathway to adventure. The darkness is not menacing, but a cloak of privacy for their shared secrets and jokes. This feeling, this illusion of safety and permanence, is the most dangerous state of all. It is a blissful ignorance that precedes tragedy, the calm before the storm. They do not see the other car until it is right there, a shadow detaching itself from the deeper shadows, its engine a low growl that vibrates through the floorboards of their own vehicle. A challenge is issued, not with words, but with the roar of an engine, a sudden surge of power, a dare, a foolish, testosterone-fueled dance of machinery and ego. The world outside the window sharpens, the blurred landscape snapping into a terrifyingly clear focus. The casual drive is over, a drag race begins. The decision is not made, but surrendered to. A collective, unspoken agreement to trade safety for a momentary thrill. The second car, a phantom of chrome and aggression, pulls alongside. Its occupants are faceless, just another set of headlights glaring with competitive fire. For a heartbeat, the two vehicles hang there, perfectly parallel, two bullets waiting in their chambers. The cars speed toward a bridge, an old, narrow structure of iron and wood, a relic from a slower time. It was not built for this. It was not designed to be the arena for such a reckless contest. The bridge looms out of the darkness, a skeletal silhouette against the churning black water below. It is a bottleneck, a point of no return. The laughter in Mary's car has died, replaced by a tense, excited silence. The thrill is now laced with the metallic taste of fear. The speedometer needle climbs, each number a step closer to the precipice. The world has shrunk to this single desperate vector of forward motion, this mad dash toward a finish line that is also an abyss. And then, a moment of impact, a confluence of speed, error, and fate. The other car swerves. A nudge, a bump, a catastrophic loss of control. Time seems to stretch and distort. The squeal of tires is a scream that tears through the night. The world outside the windshield becomes a sickening, chaotic spin of black sky and dark water. The solid reality of the road gives way. There is a horrifying crunch of metal against wood, the sound of a world breaking apart. The bridge railing, old and brittle, offers no resistance. It splinters, it shatters, it vanishes. The vehicle crashes through the railing and sinks into the muddy river below. The impact with the water is a brutal, concussive blow. For a brief, terrifying second, the car floats, a wounded beast on the surface. Then, the cold, black water begins its invasion. It pours through the shattered windows, a relentless, suffocating tide. The interior lights flicker and die. The headlights cast one last, desperate plea for help into the murky depths before they too are extinguished, swallowed by the silt and the dark. The last pockets of air escape in a frantic stream of bubbles, rising to a surface that is already healing, showing no sign of the violence that has just occurred beneath. Rescuers search. Their flashlights are weak, impotent beams against the vast, indifferent darkness of the river. They call out names that are answered only by the whisper of the wind and the steady patter of rain. The river holds its secrets close, its surface a placid, unreadable mask. The search is a grim ritual, a performance of hope in the face of near-certain despair. Men in heavy coats walk the muddy banks, their faces grim, their movements slow and deliberate. They are looking for a sign, any sign, but the river offers none. It has consumed the car, the laughter, the life, and has returned to its ancient, unhurried flow. Hours pass. Each tick of the clock is a nail in the coffin of hope. Each minute that slips by makes the cold water colder, the darkness deeper, the chances of survival infinitesimally smaller. The initial frenzy of the search gives way to a resigned, methodical procedure. The world moves on. The rain lessens to a drizzle. The first hints of a gray, mournful dawn begin to stain the eastern sky. But down in the riverbed, time has a different quality. It is thick, slow, and suffocating. It is the time of the deep, the time of the dead. 3 hours, an eternity. Long enough for the water to claim what it has taken. Long enough for all life to cease. No survivors. The words are spoken quietly, a verdict delivered on the riverbank. It is a confirmation of the obvious, an acceptance of the inevitable. The search for life becomes a plan for recovery. The other car, the Catalyst, is long gone, having sped away into the night, its occupants now ghosts themselves, haunted by what they have caused. The friends, the family, the town will soon awaken to a tragedy. The story is, for all intents and purposes, complete. A tale of youthful folly with a predictable, heartbreaking end. The book is closed, until a ripple. A disturbance on the placid surface of the water, near the muddy bank. It is not the wind. It is not a fish. It is something else. Something impossible. A pale form breaks the surface, not with a gasp or a struggle, but with a slow, deliberate grace. Mary Henry emerges from the water. She rises from the river that should have been her grave, a phantom returning to the world of the living. She is covered in mud and river weed, her clothes heavy with water, her hair plastered to her skull. She looks like a creature born of the silt and the dark, a forgotten thing dredged up from the depths. Cold, silent, changed. She does not shiver. She does not cry out. She moves through the shallow water with a strange, unhurried purpose, her eyes fixed on the shore, but seeing something far beyond it. The cold seems not to touch her. It is as if she has brought the chill of the riverbed with her, an aura of profound, unnatural frost. The silence she carries is not the absence of sound, but a presence in itself, a heavy blanket that smothers all questions. Something essential has been left behind in the dark water, and something else, something alien, has taken its place. She is a vessel, emptied of her former self. She gives no explanation. She cannot, or perhaps she will not. The rescuers surround her, their shock and disbelief palpable. They wrap her in a blanket, their questions a barrage of noise she does not seem to hear. How did you survive? Where are the others? What happened? Her face is a mask, her eyes vacant. reflecting the flashing lights of the emergency vehicles without comprehension. There is no relief on her face, no trauma, no joy at her own survival. There is only a profound and unsettling emptiness. She is a living ghost, a miracle without a story, a survivor who seems to have left her soul at the bottom of the river. The accident is over, but for Mary Henry, the true horror is just beginning. After the accident, Mary is no longer fully present. The world she once knew, vibrant and alive, has been replaced by a muted, grayscale reality. It's as if a crucial part of her soul was left behind in the murky depths of the river, leaving only a hollow shell to go through the motions of living. Her laughter, once a common sound in her small Kansas home, is now a forgotten echo. Her movements are mechanical, her eyes holding a permanent, distant stare that looks through people rather than at them. She packs her life into cardboard boxes, each item a ghost of a memory she can no longer feel. There is no sadness in her expression, no grief, only a profound and unsettling emptiness. The person she was is gone, and this new Mary is a stranger to everyone, most of all to herself. She is a ghost in her own life, haunting the rooms she once filled with warmth, now preparing to flee the very memories that define her past. The decision to leave isn't born of hope for a new beginning, but of a desperate need to outrun the nothingness that has consumed her. In this state of disconnection, she accepts a job in another town as a church organist, despite not being religious. The irony is lost on her. She, who feels no connection to the divine, no sense of faith or spiritual comfort, will now be the one to fill a house of God with music. Perhaps it's the very emptiness of the role that appeals to her. The church, with its cavernous silence and rows of vacant pews, mirrors the void within her. The organ, a complex machine of pipes and keys, demands a technical skill, not an emotional one. It is a task she can perform, a series of actions to occupy her hands and mind without requiring her to feel. The minister who hires her, a kind man with hopeful eyes, speaks of community and solace, words that are as foreign to Mary as a forgotten language. He sees a quiet, serious young woman, perhaps humbled by her recent trauma, and believes the music will be a balm for her soul. He cannot see that her soul is not wounded, but absent. For Mary, the job is not a calling. It is a hiding place, a sanctuary of stone and silence where she can pretend to be a part of the world without truly engaging with it. She leaves Kansas. The flat, familiar landscape that has been the backdrop to her entire life recedes in the rearview mirror. Every mile marker is a step away from the person she used to be, a deliberate severing of ties. As the engine hums its monotonous tune, she vows never to return. This is not a promise whispered with sentimental regret, but a cold, hard declaration made to the darkness. To return would be to confront the ghost of her former self, to visit the grave of a life she no longer recognizes. Kansas is the site of the accident, the place where her world fractured. It holds the friends who look at her with pity and confusion, the familiar streets that now feel alien. She is running, not from a place, but from a memory, from the constant, silent accusation of a life unlived. The open road offers the illusion of escape, a straight line into a future devoid of a past. Each town she passes is a reminder of the anonymity she craves, a world of strangers who know nothing of the girl who drowned and the woman who walked away. Her vow is a shield, a wall she erects between who she is now and everything she has lost. But something follows her. It begins as a flicker in her periphery, a subtle shift in the air, the kind of feeling that raises the hairs on your arms. It's a primal sense of being watched, a weight in the atmosphere that wasn't there before. She checks her rearview mirror, expecting to see the headlights of another car, but the road behind her is a ribbon of empty black. Yet, the feeling persists, a cold spot in the warm cabin of her car. It's an unseen passenger, a presence that has latched onto her, drawn to the emptiness she carries. This is not the ghost of her past, not a memory of what she's left behind. This is something else, something new, and something ancient. It is a shadow that stretches long and thin from the site of her accident, tethered to her, following her across state lines, patient and relentless. The escape she so desperately sought is already proving to be an illusion. She has not left her ghost behind. She has simply invited a new one along for the ride. On the open road, under the indifferent gaze of the moon, Mary sees a man. He is not hitchhiking. He is not stranded. He is simply there, standing by the side of the desolate highway, miles from any town. He appears as if summoned from the darkness itself, a stark monochrome figure against the muted landscape. Her foot instinctively eases off the accelerator. The sight is jarring, wrong. There is no car, no sign of a breakdown, just this solitary figure, waiting. For a fleeting moment, her rational mind scrambles for an explanation. A local taking a late-night walk, a trick of the light, a figment of her exhausted imagination. But the image is too clear, too solid. He stands perfectly still, a statue carved from moonlight and shadow, his presence a silent scream in the vast, empty night. As her car speeds past, she feels his gaze lock onto her, a physical sensation like a cold touch. The brief encounter leaves an imprint on her mind, a chilling afterimage that refuses to fade, pale, expressionless. His face is a mask of white, devoid of color, of life, of any recognizable human emotion. It's the pallor of something that has never felt the warmth of the sun, the stark whiteness of a bone bleached in the desert. His features are sharp, defined, but utterly blank. There is no anger, no sadness, no curiosity. There is only a profound, unnerving stillness, an absolute absence of affect. His eyes, dark pools in the pale landscape of his face, are not vacant. They are focused, intense, but what lies behind them is an impenetrable mystery. It's a face that doesn't belong to the world of the living, a face that seems to have been pulled from a half-forgotten nightmare. The lack of expression is more terrifying than any monstrous visage because it offers no purchase, no clue as to its intent. It is the face of the inevitable, the impartial, the absolute, staring. His gaze is not a passive observation. It is an active, piercing force. It cuts through the glass of her windshield, through the darkness, and fixes itself directly on her. It is a look of recognition, as if he has been waiting for her, as if he knows her. There is a terrifying intimacy in his stare, a sense that he sees past her physical form and into the hollow space where her soul used to be. He is not just looking at her, he is claiming her. The stare is a brand, marking her as his. In that single, sustained moment of eye contact, a silent transaction takes place. He is the embodiment of the void she carries within, the external manifestation of her internal emptiness, and in his eyes, she sees a horrifying reflection of herself, cold, detached, and no longer entirely of this world. The stare lingers long after he is gone, burned into her memory, a constant, silent reminder that she is being watched and waited for. She looks again, and he is standing in the road. The laws of time and space have been broken. One moment he was a figure on the roadside, receding in her mirror. The next, he is directly in her path, an immovable object in the center of the highway. He didn't run, he didn't move, he simply is. The sudden, impossible appearance shatters her detached calm. A surge of pure, unthinking adrenaline courses through her, a primal fear she hasn't felt since the accident. Her hands wrench the wheel, her foot slams the brake, and the car screeches in protest, tires screaming against the asphalt. The world becomes a blur of motion and sound, the smell of burning rubber filling the air. For a terrifying second, she is certain of impact, bracing for the sickening crunch of metal and bone. But there is nothing. The car swerves to a halt, fishtailing on the empty road. Her heart hammers against her ribs, a frantic, wild bird trapped in a cage. She is breathing in ragged, shallow gasps, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. And when she looks up, the road ahead is empty. He is gone, as if he were never there at all. But Mary knows. He was there, and he will be there again. On the desolate, salt-crusted shores just outside Salt Lake City, a skeletal structure stands silhouetted against the often unforgiving sky. It is an abandoned pavilion, a ghost of a bygone era, its grand arches and once proud towers now surrendering to the relentless forces of time and neglect. The Great Salt Lake, a vast inland sea of brine, laps listlessly at the shore nearby, its waters mirroring the muted, melancholy colors of the twilight. The air here is thick with silence, broken only by the mournful cry of a distant gull or the whisper of the wind as it snakes through the pavilion's broken windows and empty colonnades. It's a place that feels unstuck in time, a monument to forgotten joys and unspoken sorrows, its very presence a question mark on the horizon. Locals speak of it in hushed tones, a place to be avoided after dark, a place where the past is not quite dead. They trade stories of strange lights and disembodied sounds, but for most it is simply a ruin, a sad reminder of what once was. In its first life, it was a place of healing and leisure. Once a bathhouse, the grandest on the lake, it was built to capitalize on the purported therapeutic properties of the saline water. People would travel from miles around to immerse themselves in the buoyant, mineral-rich pools, seeking relief from their ailments and a respite from the summer heat. The air would have been filled with the sounds of splashing water, joyful shouts, and the echo of laughter against the brightly colored tiles. It was a sanctuary of wellness and high society, a place where families made memories and romances blossomed under the warm Utah sun. Now, the pools are empty, cracked basins collecting dust and debris. The vibrant tiles are peeling away, revealing the crumbling concrete beneath, like skin flaking from old bones. The echoes of laughter have long been replaced by an oppressive silence, the memory of water and life now just a phantom sensation in the dry, salty air. When the lake receded and the bathhouse craze faded, the pavilion refused to die. It was reborn, then a carnival. The therapeutic pools were filled in, making way for the thrilling mechanics of amusement. A grand carousel was installed, its hand-carved horses poised to gallop in an endless, joyful circle. A towering Ferris wheel offered breathtaking views of the lake and the distant mountains. The air, once scented with salt and sun, now carried the sweet, intoxicating aroma of spun sugar and popcorn. The gentle sounds of the spa were drowned out by the cacophony of carnival music, the rumble of roller coasters, and the delighted screams of thrill-seekers. It was a kingdom of manufactured joy, a vibrant, chaotic world of light and sound that pulsed with energy late into the night. But like the bathhouse before it, the carnival's time was fleeting. The laughter faded, the music stopped, and the magnificent machines ground to a permanent, silent halt. Now, nothing. The pavilion stands in its third and perhaps final incarnation, an empty vessel. The vibrant paint of the carousel horses is chipped and faded, their glass eyes staring blankly into the gloom. The metal skeleton of the Ferris wheel groans in the wind, a mournful dirge for its lost purpose. The grand ballroom, which once hosted elegant dancers and then boisterous crowds, is a cavern of shadows and dust. Sunlight filters through grime-caked windows, illuminating swirling motes of dust, the only things that dance here anymore. It is a place devoid of purpose, a hollow shell haunted by the ghosts of two different pasts. It is not just abandoned. It feels erased, as if the joy it once contained was so immense that its absence created a vacuum, a palpable void that draws in the silence and the shadows. The pavilion is no longer a destination. It is a warning, a tombstone for forgotten pleasures. But some are still drawn to it. Mary is drawn to it. For her, it is not just a landmark on the edge of town. It is a magnet, a siren call she feels deep in her bones. Every time she drives past, her gaze is pulled inexorably towards its decaying form. She finds herself taking detours, inventing reasons to be near it, standing at the perimeter fence that keeps the curious out. She stares for hours, a profound and inexplicable sense of longing washing over her. It feels like homesickness for a place she's never been, a deep, aching nostalgia for memories she doesn't have. The feeling is so powerful, so visceral, that it frightens her. It's a pull that defies logic, a connection that feels ancient and deeply personal. She feels as though a part of her is inside, waiting behind the boarded-up doors, and she is compelled to answer its silent call. She cannot explain why. There is no rational explanation for the pull. She has no family history in the area, no childhood connection to the place. She has researched its history, poring over old photographs and newspaper articles, but nothing clicks. Nothing explains the phantom limb sensation she feels when she looks at it. It's a constant, low-level hum in the back of her mind, a question without an answer. When she closes her eyes, she can almost hear the faint strains of a waltz or the distant laughter of children. But the sounds are distorted, as if heard from underwater. She feels an overwhelming sense of loss, a grief for something she cannot name. Friends and family offer simple explanations, a romantic imagination, a fascination with old buildings. But Mary knows it's something more. It's a spiritual tether, an unseen thread connecting her soul to the rotting wood and crumbling stone of the pavilion. The visions have started to bleed into her waking life. Flashes of a woman in a long dress, the taste of salt water, the dizzying height of a Ferris wheel at night. Worried, she seeks a medical opinion. A doctor tells her the visions are trauma. He speaks in calm, measured tones, using words like dissociation and post-traumatic stress. He suggests that a forgotten childhood event, perhaps unrelated to the pavilion itself, has found a symbolic home in the abandoned structure. The brain, he explains, is a powerful and mysterious organ, capable of creating vivid narratives to cope with pain it cannot otherwise process. He prescribes medication to quiet her mind and therapy to excavate her past. He sees a patient with a textbook case of anxiety, her mind playing tricks on her. He sees a problem to be solved with science and reason. He does not see the truth in her eyes. But Mary knows the truth. As she leaves the sterile, logical world of the doctor's office, the feeling only intensifies. The diagnosis feels hollow, an ill-fitting suit for a reality it cannot contain. The doctor's words are a rational wall built to hold back an ocean of impossibility, and she can feel the tide pushing against it. Looking at her own reflection, she sees not a traumatized patient, but a stranger, and yet, someone deeply familiar. The truth is not in her past, not in this lifetime. It's a whisper from a place beyond the reach of medicine, a truth that doesn't live in her brain cells, but in her very soul. The pavilion isn't a symbol of a forgotten trauma. The trauma is forgetting. Forgetting who she was, forgetting what happened there. The visions are not tricks of the mind. They are echoes of a life she lived before. The pavilion is not a place. It is a memory. It is not a building of wood and stone standing on the edge of a salt lake. It is a vessel, a reliquary holding the psychic imprint of a life and a death. It is a memory that has been waiting patiently for the mind that created it to return. Mary is not being haunted by a ghost. She is the ghost, haunting the edges of her own past, drawn back to the place where her story last ended. The structure on the lake is merely the anchor, the physical object to which the spiritual memory is tethered, and it is calling her home. Strange things begin to happen. In a department store, Mary realizes no one can see her, no one can hear her. Sound disappears. The world continues without her. Birds chirping brings sound back. Reality flickers. Mary plays the church organ. The music changes. It becomes unnatural. A vision fills her mind. Inside the pavilion ballroom, figures dance. They all share the same face, white skin, dark eyes. The minister stops her. "Miss Henry, you must resign." Mary feels drawn to John Lyndon, yet repulsed by him. In the mirror, his reflection changes. He becomes the man.
Mary screams, "I don't want to be alone."
But she already is. Mary tries to escape. Her car fails. At a garage, she is trapped, locked inside or while something approaches. The world turns silent again. She runs. No one hears her. No one sees her. Mary boards a bus. The passengers stare. They smile. They are the dancers, the dead. She runs back to the pavilion. This time, it is waiting. Mary flees into the ballroom. The dead surround her. They dance. They close in. Later, police find her car. Footprints lead into sand. No body. Back in Kansas. The submerged car is pulled from the river. Inside, the two girls, and Mary Henry. She never escaped. Carnival of Souls is not about ghosts haunting the living. It is about the living who don't realize they are ghosts. It is quiet horror, existential horror, unavoidable horror. Once you see it, the silence stays with you.